Do you want to know how to write, illustrate, and publish a children's book? Then make sure you stay tuned to today's video. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, where you learn how to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable author brand. Quick question. Do you think that publishing children's books are worth it? Have you had some good success in publishing kids' books? I definitely would love to hear your candid thoughts in the comments down below. Also, stick around to the end. For those of you that are looking for some free images, I actually have a resource guide I'd like to put into your hands if you just stay with me. Now, I understand that we can be here all day and night if I talk to you about how to write, illustrate, and publish a children's book. So what I'm going to do is going to give you some basic tips and an overview of what you should be doing. Identify your target audience. Yep, that's right. This is the old advice I've given to every single other type of niche, whether it's children's books or self-help books, fiction books or non-fiction books. You must study your audience. You must know who you're writing for. You can't write for everyone. Not all kids' books are created equal. You're not going to have the same type of book for a 1-year-old that you're going to have for a 10-year-old. There's a huge difference. So you need to identify your target audience. And more importantly, let's address the elephant in the room. Hello, the parents, the ones who are going to purchase the book for their kids, hopefully. So you're going to want to make sure that you know your audience and their parents, so that way you know what you need to do in order to make this whole thing work. Study the niche. So before you start to put all of your hard-earned time, energy, and money into this kid's book, you need to study your niche. You need to study the market, and you're looking for commonalities between full color pages to black and white, or maybe images, no images, cartoons, realistic pictures. You're going to want to make sure you get down to the nitty-gritty, even the price point, the size of the book, to the number of pages. This all makes a huge difference in trying to meet the market demand. Where they're at is where you're going to want to be. And as you're studying in the niche, you're going to want to make sure that you're scraping common keywords and phrases, because those keywords, phrases, and categories, more importantly, are going to be really optimal in using within your book's metadata. Also, like your title, your subscription, your series name, the 7 keywords in your KDP dashboard if you're utilizing that, as well as your book description. So if you're saying precisely what the other books are saying within your niche, then chances are you're going to show up. Now, I'm not telling you to plagiarize someone's content. I'm not telling you to swipe someone's title and use it for your own. I'm just merely saying study what has been working for the successful, and chances are likely if you can say exactly what makes them discoverable through your target audience, then that target audience will hopefully find you in turn. Develop the concept. Okay, this is where I'm just kind of glossing over a large portion of this. As I was putting together my own children's book series as kind of an example over on twitch.tv/selfpublish, I had a general idea. I wanted to have a good life lesson book that's going to be for kids between the ages of 3 to 5. And it was a very basic book. I wanted to kind of have something that was very Dr. Seuss-ish, to where it had a little bit of a rhyming scheme to it. It had lovable cartoon monkey characters, because I love monkeys. I want to be able to work with something that's enjoyable. So when it comes to you developing your concept, think about what resonates with you. If you've got children, I'm sure you probably know what resonates with them, and you're going to know exactly what is going to make sense for your concept in the long term. Write the story. Okay, this one's a given. Yes, we got to write the story. We got to put it together. And if you have to be doing, like, say, for instance, a picture book, that's probably going to be a little bit different. And some picture books do have a little bit of wording in it. But I'm just going to go ahead and just address the ones with actual content with them, be it something like a Dr. Seuss book of some sort, or even like a Dora the Explorer type thing. You're going to want to make sure that you're refining your content and write it like you would a normal book, but just make sure you're doing it for your audience, because you don't want to have something that is a Stephen King reading level for a 6-year-old. It just doesn't make sense. So similar to what you are going to be doing for any normal books, be it self-help, nonfiction, fiction, children's books are pretty much the same. You're going to write your first draft, You're going to go through and have it edited and hopefully professionally edited. Believe it or not, there are editors out there that work with children's books to make sure that the tone is perfect for the age that you're working with. And then next thing is getting it formatted and proofed to make sure that everything is on point. Now, in the event that you want to really go deep on the illustrations, and that's what we're going to be talking about within this video, there are a variety of ways of getting things illustrated. Before you do the illustration, whether you're doing it as an artist or you're hiring out an artist, you're going to need to put together a storyboard. Now, this is essentially, it works out almost like they do inside the movies. If you've ever seen any kind of storyboards, what it's going to do is it's going to set up each one of the scenes. And you want to have a basic description of what it's following along inside the storyline. You don't need to make it sexy. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can do stick figures and just rough sketches just so you understand where you're going to be going from one page to the next. Storyboards are a way for you to gather your thoughts and know what ultimately your layout's going to look like when it's printed. And now, illustrate the work. Okay, so this is where I always recommend people go to is hire a professional. If somebody is a professional and they are an artist and you know what to do, then you're going to want to make sure you go to the resource. Be ready to pony up some pretty good expenses when it comes to getting your illustrations. It is not cheap by any means. You can spend hundreds of dollars on a single children's book. Now, I know that James Ranson, a good friend of mine and a friend here of the channel, loses his mind when I bring up sites like this, but there are freelance platforms that actually utilize good illustrators. That includes Fiverr, Upwork, or any number of those type of resources, and they can come either bargain basement or they can be at a high premium. Just make sure that if you use any type of freelance platforms that you see the person's portfolio before you make any purchases, and also make sure that they're on the up and up. I always take a look at their reviews and I try to keep an open dialogue with any time that I use a freelance platform, because you want to make sure that they're not just stealing someone's artwork, handing it off to you, collecting your money, and you're going, yeah, because believe it or not, it's still plagiarism. It's still copyright theft if you're purchasing something from a freelance artist, because they can just go ahead and steal the stuff and send it on over to you. So you want to make sure that you check out your resources. And as per usual, if you do hire out, be it through a freelance platform or one of my preferred ways, which is referrals, because if you got friends, they hopefully will know someone that's a good artist that you can utilize. But you're going to want to make sure that you're not spending more than you can afford to lose. Let's repeat this again, and I know this is a common theme inside this channel. Don't pony up the expenses if you can't afford to lose it, because the artist has nothing to lose. As soon as they've done the work for you and you've approved of that and you've sent the money their way, it's no longer in their hands. It's your responsibility to make sure that this children's book is a success. It does not follow on the artist's hands. But then there's do it yourself. If you are an artist, or you're willing to take a stab at it, then this might be the avenue for you. Now, there's going to be some exceptions to the rule. If you're not very good and you know it, then chances are pretty likely you're not going to succeed in illustrating your own book. There is some graphic design software out there, including the likes of Photoshop or even the free open source software called GIMP that you can utilize, and you can create things within that. But fair warning, again, it comes down to looking very amateurish. If your audience wants amateur, that's fine, but I think you'll know if it's a success or it's a complete dud when you put it out into the market and people are giving you one-star reviews like, I could tell this person made it in Microsoft Paint. Now, my preference is graphic design software. I've actually used it, and I did that for my Grumpy Gus series, and I was able to get some of the image licensing for that, and I was able to Frankenstein some of those images and get it to where it was unique, and I was able to put my own spin on it. But I've spent hours upon hours in working with graphic design software to create characters like that, and I have the patience to work through it because it's something that's a passion of mine. Now, for those of you out there, though, that are kind of wondering, okay, what do I do with this when I have it done? Good friend of mine and also legendary animator and cartoon artist John Celestri actually was able to share just a little bit of 411, and hopefully here very soon I'll get him back onto the channel to speak a little bit more on it. John was interviewed here on this channel. You may remember such cartoons as He-Man and the Masters of the Universe or Dragon's Lair, the video game from back in the 80s. And he was a big part of the animation of those particular series. So with that being said, I actually reached out to John and I had him drop a little bit of 411 on me. So I'm going to paraphrase some of the information that he was able to share with me. So of course, you're going to draw the content yourself. Let's just assume that graphic design software aside, you're drawing it and you're hand drawing all this stuff. What do you do after you have drawn your pictures? It's a rather simple process and it doesn't require a lot of fancy software or hardware for your computer. Believe it or not, you can use something as simple as what John did. He said it was a cheap Epson model, printer scanner type model, and what he does is he goes in and he scans it. He shoots for a 400 dpi resolution or greater, so you don't want to go real low resolution because it becomes a bit pixelated if you do. So make sure that it's a lossless quality of some sort, so that way you're getting as fine a detail as you can and you're not missing out on any of the intricacies of your artwork. When you scan it to gray, so that way you can go into any kind of graphic design software and clean up and harden those lines and kick up the contrast to where it goes into a darker color. And then last but not least, if this is your intentions, you want to have it full color, you can colorize those pictures. Again, you're going to probably have to use some type of graphic design software, and again, you could probably be a good illustrator of some sort, but you're not really good with this software, so there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, or hire a professional. All right, so now what do we do that we've got the illustrated content? How do we publish it? One of the simplest ways I'm going to recommend is the Kindle Kids Book Creator. Before I mention the software, you can hire out professional book designers, people that are able to go in and fix the formatting so it looks clean and perfect. But I've found zero issues in using the Kindle Kids Book Creator, and that's 100% free. And it also has other tutorials available through Amazon KDP that you can follow, and it's a fairly intuitive walkthrough when you actually use their program. In fact, I talked a little bit about how to use the Kindle Kids Book Creator program in this previous video about how to publish a children's book on Amazon. The really cool thing is the Kindle Kids Book Creator will make an ebook version of it, and if you've done all of your work correctly when it comes to formatting, you can also put it through KDP Print and just publish it through the Kindle Direct Publishing platform. I actually talked a little bit about the quality when it comes to full color books on the KDP Print and Kindle Direct Publishing platform altogether. But that's for another video for another day. I told you before I was going to give you a free image resources guide, and I'm going to go ahead and deliver. If you just go ahead and meet me on over at selfpublishingwithDale.com/image. Hey, so before you jump off and go grab that guide, what I'm going to get you to do is let's go take a look at that old video about how to publish children's books on Amazon so you can get a better idea of what you need to do going forward. I'll see you on over there. Now that I'm an experienced self-publisher, I'm happy to share I've crossed one item off my life goals list: publishing a children's picture book.